Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of radiant settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.
Yes, people, how are we doing? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are across the world. Big up to all of you for joining nice and early. Much appreciate you for the Transfer Morning Show. This morning, we're going to go going through all transfers across Europe and the Premier League. There's some unbelievable news breaking over the evening and also in the last few hours. So we're going to be discussing all of it. Please make sure you do me a favor if you are new to the channel and hit subscribe. The subscribe button is absolutely free and it gets us closer to our next target, which is 25k, and then our long-term target, which is 30k. So please make sure that we can get there. We're literally over 23.3 now, so let's get that up to 24k as soon as possible. All you've got to do is hit subscribe. It's a free button, and hit the like button too. Likes mean so much to this channel. It really does put us out there and promote the channel as best as you can. So please show your appreciation by liking the video and hitting subscribe. If you can also do me a favor and go and take up the offer with Manscaped at the moment and show them some love. If you need some beard trimmers, then make sure that you go to the link in the description, in the pinned comment. Click on that link in the pinned comment section and it will take you through to the website. Select the Beard Hedger and 20% will come off automatically using that link. So please make sure that you do that as well. We're going to talk all things Chelsea, all things Man United, all things Newcastle, all things City, and all things Arsenal. Let's get into it by saying hello and good morning to the chat room. Who is in here watching live? We've got morning to Dan. Hope you're well, bro. Good morning, Emerson. Mum's in the house. Tammy in the house. Good to see you, Tammy. Morning to Chris. Morning to Elwood. Morning to Lionheart. Morning to Steve. I hope you're well, bro. Morning to Helsinki, Joshua, Sergio, Two Wavy, Juha, Barry. Who else have we got in here? We got Richie in, Whittle. We got Baguma, Chris, Lil Tims. Hope you're well. Elder, Keaton, and of course Tony. Big up to all of you that are just joining as well. We've got Football Fan View and we've got Cross Junkie. Absolutely love that name, as well as Andrew and everyone else that I've missed or that isn't watching live, that's watching on catch up. Massive good morning to you. And also thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you haven't done so already, go watch last night. It was absolutely chaotic. What a show. This is London. Absolutely phenomenal panel. Myself, Dan Lawless, Don, Deji, and Goonali going at it on Deji about Tottenham, going at it about Lawless on West Ham, and talking to Don about the circus of his club, that is Chelsea. So please make sure, if you haven't done so already, go check that one out because it was lit, a lit panel, a lit show. Please make sure you go and check that one out. Okay, let's get to it, shall we? Let's start by talking about Chelsea. Wow. What is going on at this football club? It is a circus. I said to people, when you hire owners who are clowns, expect a circus. And that is what we've got. Raheem Sterling has been told he has to go and find another club, along with around about 20 other players. Yes, 20. Chelsea have got 8 days to get rid of 20 players. Oh, but some will go on loan and some will be in the under-23s and some will be in the reserves and some will be sold. Okay, Chelsea, cool. Go do it then. 8 days to get rid of 20 players. Go find clubs for 20 players or go find futures for 20 players in 8 days. What have they been waiting for all this time? Now all of a sudden they want to get rid of 20 players. One of them is Raheem Sterling. Pedro Neto has been given his shirt number, the number 7. So therefore, Raheem is told he needs to leave. And apparently, according to reports, he wants to stay in the Premier League. So who is going to be interested in him? I don't think Arsenal will be. I don't think that Liverpool or Manchester City will be. Manchester United, watch this space. Manchester United rumoured to be interested in Raheem Sterling. Of course, they are looking at wide players. They've only got Rashford and they've only got Garnacho. It doesn't look like Anthony or Sancho are staying or are wanted. Anthony definitely is staying, by the way, but Sancho definitely looks future up in the air. could Raheem Sterling make an amazing move to Man United? Imagine playing for Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, and City in your career. Wow. I don't know how many players have done that. But listen, it's going to be a transfer that's going to happen. It maybe not to Manchester United, but he's definitely leaving Chelsea. The problem with Raheem Sterling is he's on 350 a week? That is an unbelievable amount of money. Who is going to be paying that a week for Raheem Sterling? I do not believe he is worth anything near that. 150 tops. Listen, good player, 29 years old, won everything in the game. He's a top talent, don't get me wrong, but I think he's in a decline as a footballer. I don't think he's been good at Chelsea. I know he can play right and left, but if I'm honest with you, I'll be staying clear if I'm Arsenal. I'll be absolutely staying clear from him. I've never really been a massive lover of him. I think he's been a great player, but for me, no, ain't going to happen. Another player that looks like he's on his way out to Manchester United from Chelsea is Ben Chilwell, who is being told he can leave and Manchester United are interested. Now, I don't know if they need, how many more left backs do they need? They've got Malacia, they've got Luke Shaw, they've just bought Mazarawi, who can play from both. They've got Dalot, who's played left back as well. Do they need Ben Chilwell? Ben Chilwell is fine going forward, but defensively, I've always had problems with him. I don't think he's quite as cut out as what people thought. I really don't rate Ben Chilwell like I do other left backs. But apparently, they're interested. Manchester United are being given the chance to sign Ben Chilwell. So what's happening here? So I've got something in my eye. Chelsea, what an absolute mess. Honestly, what a mess. Let's move now to Manchester City. It looks as if this is going to get done. I am actually really gutted about this. Gundogan to Manchester City, to re-sign for Manchester City. This could be a title clinching signing. The last time he was at Manchester City, he captained them to a treble. He's won everything in the game in Germany and in England. This is a phenomenal signing. And people will say he's washed. He's 33 years old. He's definitely not washed. He had an okay season at Barcelona, but when he was at City, my boy, did he absolutely turn it on. And he was in the midfield with Rodri and actually can be the Rodri replacement. So Manchester City have got their Rodri replacement, their Gundogan replacement, and they've got Savinho, who's replaced Mahrez. Boy, Manchester City are absolutely flying. They have, however, sold Julian Alvarez, which means what? They want players, and they want a replacement in attack. Now, yesterday I brought you the news that they are interested in John Duran at Aston Villa, and it looks like that is still the case. However, today they've actually been linked with the Celtic forward Furuhashi. Now, he is actually a good player, a very talented player, one that Celtic don't want to lose. If they could get him at Manchester City behind Haaland, they're complete. They have definitely strengthened because they bought one midfielder in, one attacker in, and one forward in. And for me, that is absolutely enough at Manchester City. They might say, be pernickety and get a left back because they've got Ake and Gvardiol that play there, but let's be real, they're pretty decent, aren't they? I would say Manchester City are set match and complete if they get Gundogan and Furuhashi. I don't know how good Furuhashi is, but I know that Celtic do not want him to go because he's been scoring the goals for them and he's been very exciting for them. So Manchester City are looking to get both these players in. It could be very, very interesting. Let's hope that this one doesn't work out for him and that Gundogan is now washed. That's what's got to happen for me. Let's move on to PSG because there's a couple of players that are rumoured with a move away. Carlos Soler is one of the guys playing for Valencia here. He's obviously currently at PSG. He is being linked with a move to West Ham. But West Ham are suggesting that if they do want to sign anyone, they have to sell players first. The Guardian are reporting that the 27-year-old is wanted by West Ham and PSG are happy to sell players, but he, as much as he's wanted, West Ham will not be getting him unless they do not sell players. Now, I know there's rumours that Kurt Zouma could be on his way out. Aguerd was being questioned with a move as well. There was other reports and rumours suggesting that potentially Danny Ings and a couple of others that are unwanted and are seen as dead wood at West Ham might be on the move first. So watch what happens here. But Carlos Soler is a midfield player, can play more of an attacking-minded player. He is definitely on the radar at West Ham. So let's see what happens. Sticking with PSG and looking at other players that are on the way out, it does not look like there's many players coming in. Not so far anyway. They've been linked with Osimhen. They've been linked with Sancho. What's happening with PSG. Well, Manuel Ugarte is a player that is definitely on his way out, and it looks like Manchester United are going to get a loan with an obligation to buy. The only thing holding this up is that they are not prepared to lower their valuation of £51 million. And Manchester United, although they're closing in on the deal for the Uruguayan midfielder, they're trying to haggle that down a little bit more. I don't know why. I think that's fair for a 23-year-old who, let's be real, is highly regarded in the holding midfield area that they absolutely need. And I think this will bolster Manchester United's midfield. I think in their centre-halves, they've definitely improved. They're looking to improve their midfield. They look to improve up top with Xerxes. And if they do get a winger like Raheem Sterling and a left back, they've had a very, very good window, haven't they? Let's be real. If you look at what Manchester United would have bought, they would have bought Mazraoui as a fullback, potentially Chilwell as a fullback. They bought 2 or 3 centre-halves if Jared Branthwaite does go. Manuel Ugarte in midfield, Xerxes up top. And if they get Sterling, that's 8 players in their first window. Wow. Fair play to Manchester United. They obviously knew what they needed to do. And that was, of course, to get rid of some of their players and bring them in. To look to bolster their squad. Going back to West Ham, Barry, big up. Maxwell Cornet is another one that I did forget. Might be off to Turkey also. So West Ham, let's be real. West Ham had a very good window, man. Very, very good window. They get Carlos Soler as well. Listen, I've got West Ham at the moment in the top 8. Maybe I can push them forward towards the top 6, top 7, because I think they could have a very, very good... It's just Lopetegui, isn't it? We just don't know what Lopetegui is going to be. If it's Lopetegui of Wolves, then West Ham will be in trouble. If it's the Lopetegui who first come on the scene at Spain, then maybe they can get something out of him. But we'll have to see what's happening. Let's talk about some players that are potentially leaving the Premier League. Obviously, Lukaku looks like he is off to Napoli. Conte, very much interested in 3 players from the Premier League, one of which is Lukaku. The other, which is Scott McTominay, who, let's be real, is probably worth around about 25 million tops. And that's around what they're going to be getting him for. Manchester United just need to make that deal happen. I'm sure that Conte will get something out of him. It's his sort of player. And, of course, Billy Gilmour over at Chelsea, playing for Scotland here. He is going to be... not Chelsea, sorry, Brighton. He's gone to Brighton now, hasn't he? Conte is interested in Billy Gilmour as well. So let's be real, 3 players in the Premier League that, albeit a Premier League proven, I don't know that I really wanted by many Premier League clubs. So that could be interesting. But there's some outgoings across the Premier League that are all going to Napoli under Antonio Conte. Now for the Crystal Palace situation at centre-back. I do not know what is going on, but Joachim Andersen has agreed a £30 million move to Fulham. And I think that's a really good deal for Fulham at 28 years old. I think he's one of the better centre-halves outside of the top 6 in the Premier League. And Fulham already know him, as you see him there a few years ago playing for Fulham. This is a strange one. I really don't understand that. But it's not just Joachim Andersen that could be leaving Crystal Palace. Newcastle are only £5 million away from agreeing a fee for Mark Guehi. That means Guehi and Andersen will both be leaving Crystal Palace for a combined 90 or plus £90 million. That is phenomenal. So what does that mean then if Crystal Palace lose both their centre-halves? Well, they're linked with another 2, aren't they? They're linked, of course, with Maxence Lacroix. And Lacroix at Wolfsburg is somebody that a lot of clubs are looking at. And Crystal Palace have scouted this guy and believed he is one of the talents over in the league. And he is going to be a player that Crystal Palace believe they can get their hands on. Around about £25 million. So they're obviously replacing him with Joachim Andersen. And there's a lot of reports and rumours suggesting that Guehi might stay for his final couple of years. Or if he does go, which it looks likely that Newcastle can get an agreement on, that they will bring in Thomas Araujo. Now, Araujo is a player from Benfica who's highly rated. He's a tall, commanding centre-half. And Palace believe that along with Maxence Lacroix and Thomas Araujo, or Araujo, apparently is how you say it, if you're Portuguese. And that can be the next 2 centre-back pairings at Crystal Palace. What is going on at Crystal Palace? They are selling everyone. With Guehi going, with Andersen going, with Mateta and Eze in the mix, and of course Elise leaving. What is going on at Crystal Palace, and why are they losing so many players? It could be interesting to see how a new centre-half pairing gets on, though. I will say that. But I must say it's a very, very strange situation at Crystal Palace. But there we go. Let's move to Brentford very quickly because they have made a sign-in. Of course, they are, or have made, sorry, should I say, the sign-in of Vandenberg. He has gone for around about 20 million, I think it is, from Liverpool to Brentford. Now, Brentford, let's be real, have been very quiet this window so far, but it looks like they've got their centre-half in that they need. And what is going on with Ivan Toney? Looks like Saudi are interested. Are Chelsea and Manchester United going to come in last minute? That's what I want to know. Could be very, very interesting. Let's move to Sander Berg, shall we? Because Sander Berger is a player that I rate at Burnley, obviously playing at Sheffield United there. Manchester United were massively and heavily linked, but that did not happen. I personally don't think that is a bad thing, but I do think it's a good thing for Fulham who have signed him. I think it's a good signing for 25 million, I think it is, or 20 million pounds. I think it's a really good signing for Fulham. And if they got him and Joachim Andersen in to replace Tosin and Paulinho, they could have done a hell of a lot worse than those two players, trust me. Fulham could have a good season again. I think people sleep on Fulham. Fulham are the team that people forget about. I've got them in around 12th, 13th place again. But a lot of people believe that they are just a club that just are forgotten about now. I think Marco Silva's done a phenomenal job there. I think they've got good players. I think they can score good goals, big goals as well. So I'm actually a fan. Let's see what Fulham can do. Let's move to Arsenal. We all want to know what's happening at Arsenal, don't we? Well, Charlie Patino is the player that is leaving. Charlie Patino is going to Deportivo La Coruña for around £1 million. I think there's a loan that's potentially spoken about that could happen. First of all, whatever happened to Charlie Patino? The youngster who at around about 17 years old, we were told, is one of the best to ever come through the youth academy. Well, I'm sorry, but for me, it was never going to work out. He went to Blackpool and under Mick McCarthy had a half-decent season but got injured. He went to Swansea last season, played well. They said he was going to be a real good talent, but it never really worked out for him there. I don't think he's built for England. I think he needs to go over to the Italian league or the Spanish league or the Portuguese league, and that looks like where he's going. Charlie Patino over to Deportivo La Coruña. It looks as if they are interested in him. Let's see what career he has. I'm really interested because for me, I do believe that Charlie Patino had a little something, but sometimes we get this. Remember Dan Crowley at Arsenal? Remember how fantastic he was supposed to be? Never worked out for him. Chido Obi Martin is the next one that's supposed to be the next best thing, who's now at Manchester United. Will that ever come to fruition? Remember J. Emmanuel Thomas, who we were told was the new Patrick Vieira? It never worked out for him. I remember Arturo Lupoli and Carlos Vela. We were told they were the best finishers they've ever seen at the club at their ages. Neither of them worked out massively for Arsenal. So there are definite youngsters that come through the ranks that just don't make it. They start off really good with their age group. Everybody turns into adults. They don't grow. And all of a sudden they get forgotten about and get bullied. It is a brutal sport. People forget how brutal football is. Arsene Wenger said the other day, I was watching a Giroud documentary, that between the ages of 17 to 21, over 75% of players don't play football at the age of 22 and don't make it at the age of 22. That is scary. That when you're a youngster, there's a 75% chance you're not going to make it as a footballer. That is scary when it's your absolute dream and it's all you've done since the age of 5 to 17 is play football. And you then get that professional contract and then you're told at 21, sorry, you ain't for us. Brutal sport, man. And I think mental health in football is massive for those youngsters because for me, when you've got a dream and it's shattered and there's nothing you can do about it, that is absolutely horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. So Charlie Patino, he there pictured at Swansea, is now going to be a Deportivo La Coruña player. Somebody else leaving Arsenal is Eddie Nketiah. And we have agreed £30 million with some add-ons. It looks like it is getting done, people. Finally, the Ornsteins of this world, the Romanos of this world, the Athletic, every article that you read that you see as reliable is suggesting that Forest are going to be happy to pay 30 million, and Arsenal are trying to put some add-ons in there as well. I think it comes in total to 32 million pounds for Eddie Nketiah. That is phenomenal. And do you know what? I'll say this. I've never always been critical of Edu and Arteta, but I've definitely never always praised them. They deserve praise here, because I would have sold him like many of us would to Marseille for 27 million pounds. Now, I know it's not a hell of a lot more, but it actually is quite good business. I know it's only a few £1 million more, but My goodness, how have we got him for £32 million sold? That is incredible. Nottingham Forest, let's be real. I don't want to be too harsh. They have got themselves a striker here that can score goals. They haven't got themselves a world beater, though. And for £32 million, if we can get Eddie Nketiah gone for that, that is phenomenal. And we can then put that towards, hopefully, our last signing. Now, the reason I say last signing is because Calafiori is through the door. Marino, what's happening? I was told this was done. I was told it was 24 hours away, 72 hours ago, 96 hours ago. Where is he? What's happening? Question mark. That's going to get done. That will be the second signing. And I believe there's one more coming in the door. I really do. I believe that there will be an attacker. And I don't know who that attacker is going to be. I hope it's Victor Gyökeres, but there are reports suggesting that we are linked with other players. Now, Eddie, of course, £30 million. That is phenomenal. For Forest to pay that incredible amount of money, right? Great for Arsenal. What happens to Reece Nelson? Question mark. What happens to Kieran Tierney? What happens to Kivior? And what happens to Ramsdale? Well, Ramsdale, I imagine, will probably look to go on loan with an option or / obligation. And I think we'll bring Juan Garcia in. That, I think, will be the other signing Arsenal make. Juan Garcia, Calafiori, Marino, and an attacker. They're the four players I expect to come in at Arsenal, right? Looks like three of them are going to get done pretty easily. Calafiori's already done. Marino and Juan Garcia look like they're going to get done. Then we go for an attacker. Now, are we going to go for a winger? Are we going to go for a striker? Or are we going to go for both? Could be very interesting. Well, there's some slight rumours overnight and this morning that Osimhen is back in. And Arsenal were interested yet again at going back in for Osimhen. We are back on the trail of the Osimhen deal. Napoli had started with the intention of demanding a £130 million release clause to be paid in full. They are now accepting and evaluating the idea to look to accept offers of at least 100 million euros, which is around about 80 million pounds or 84 million pounds. Would you take Osimhen for 84 million pounds, or would you take Victor Gyökeres, who has also got a 100 million euro contract clause? Would you take either of those players? Well, listen, they're both the victors, the battle of the victors, as we said. And personally, it could be very interesting as to what one that we go for. Could it be one of the victors, or could it be neither of the victors? I would prefer Gyökeres, but what is happening in the world of Victor Osimhen? Now let's go to another rumour, which some in the chat are talking about. It is, of course, Ademola Lookman. Very, very strange, this one. But Arsenal, a couple of hours ago, this has come out to suggest that we're prepared to offer Atlanta 50 million euros plus Jacob Kivior for Lookman. Wow. What's happening here, people? Yes, he can play wide, both right and left. I don't think that he can play up top. He has been good for Atlanta, but he didn't do much at Everton or Leicester other than being a hot prospect. I think this is an absolutely mad shout. I don't know if he's good enough. I don't know if I'm excited about this one or not. If this is true, which I'm not sure that it is or not, then it's a position that we 100% need. It could be very interesting. But according to Alfredo Pedula, Arsenal are prepared to offer Atlanta 50 million euros plus Jacob Kivior for Ademola Lookman. Liverpool have also inquired about the conditions of a transfer, and Atlanta want around 65 million euros to 70 million euros, which is around about 55 million pounds, isn't it? Something like that, 52 million pounds. If we were offering 50 million and Kivior, is this a good deal? Well, he's definitely better than Fabio Vieira. He's definitely better than Reece Nelson. And that's what we can sometimes look at is this player an upgrade on what we've got? Whether you think he's good enough to win a title or not, would Ademola Lookman be better than Reece Nelson? Yes, he would. Would Ademola Lookman be better than Fabio Vieira? Yes, he would. I think if that happens, it is clearly a player that Edu and Arteta want, because he's not on anyone's radar in the fan base. There's nobody that's told me that Ademola Lookman should be coming to Arsenal. I just don't know how much I believe in this one. I know he did well at Atalanta and he won in the Europa League, and I know that his goals won in the Europa League. I know that his goals were really impressive in that tournament, and that last season he did well. Let's have a look at his stats. I don't know enough about his stats, to be fair. I don't know how well he has been playing or last season. But last season, his stats were as follows. He's got 11 goals in 31 matches, 7 assists. Season before that, 13 goals and 6 assists. And in the Europa League, he got 5 goals in 11 matches and, of course, won it. Actually, it's pretty impressive over in Serie A. To get, a GA of 18 and the season before a GA of 19. And then in Europa League, GA of 6 out of 11. This is fairly impressive. You can see why teams are looking at him, right? Looking at those stats for the first time, and I swear that's the first time I've looked at them. Wow, I didn't know that he did that well over there. And he's not old either, right? Lookman's not old. He's 26. So I know that he was young when he burst on the scene a few years ago. I think he was 19 or 20, but he was over at Everton. He was over at Leicester. Never really did much at those clubs, but looks like he's coming to his own. Now, my problem with that is when you do well over in Serie A, sometimes you find your feet. If you haven't previously done well in England, I'm not sure I'm too tempted to bring you back to England. But Arsenal apparently had Liverpool looking at this signing as somebody to potentially come in on that right-hand side and play as that winger. Obviously, Arsenal and Liverpool have Saka and Salah, but no one really else. Both of us looking to get a right winger in. Maybe Lookman is the guy that we're looking at. Would that mean, though, that it's just Lookman and nobody else? Are you happy with just Lookman coming in at Arsenal? I'm not sure that would raise the bar. I'm not sure Calafiori, Marino and Lookman is enough for Manchester City to go, oh, scary. I don't know that it is. Now, listen, Calafiori and Marino sort out our left-hand side. Whether you think that's good enough to win a title or not, it upgrades our left-hand side. Lookman playing on the right and the left and up top or whatever it is that he can play across the front three. Is that going to be enough to take Arsenal across the line? He's basically just upgraded Reece Nelson, but it's not taken us to a new level. I don't know if this one's going to happen, but it's the latest rumour, guys. We've been linked with so many players. We really have. Nobody actually knows what's happening here. Is Victor Gyökeres, is it? Is it Victor Osimhen up top? If it's not a striker and we're going for a winger, is it Kingsley Coman or Leroy Sané at Bayern Munich? Is it Bakayoko at PSV? Is it Raheem Sterling or Madueke at Chelsea? Or is it now Ademola Lookman? Who would you like? Let me know in the comments section. I want to know. Who do you want out of the wingers and strikers we're linked with? Because I'm going for Victor Gyökeres. That's the one that I want. A lot of people will say that, it's better to get a winger because Saka needs cover and rest. But Jesus can do that if you buy a striker. Jesus can be that backup to Saka. He can rotate with Saka. We've seen him play wide. He's better on the wing than he is in the number 9 position. Manchester City said that. You're buying Jesus and he's a winger, not a striker. They all told us this. So, for me, I don't know where I'm at with the players we're linked with. None of them are raising the bar for me. I would say I'm more excited by the strikers we're linked with than the wingers we're linked with. That's what I would say. I'm much more excited by Victor Gyökeres or Victor Osimhen than I am Ademola Lookman, Kingsley Coman, who's always injured, and Bakayoko at PSV, who's 21 and unproven. So for me, as long as we don't buy Raheem Sterling, I'm pretty cool. I do not want that guy at all. So I'm in a situation where I think it has to be Victor Gyökeres for us to have an end of a window that will make us go fair play. At the moment, I'm a little bit deflated. We've signed Calafiori and nobody else, and there's 8 days left. That's poor. That's poor. When last season we had Declan Rice playing already, we had pre-season games that had gone and finished with Havertz, Raya, Rice and Timber all available in them. This season, we're flinging on Nelson, Vieira and Eddie still. So for me, Eddie Nketiah going is brilliant. I imagine Reece Nelson will find a club as well. I imagine Ramsdale will go on loan. And I imagine Kiwior will go to Serie A. I don't know what's happening with Kieran Tierney because of his injury. Maybe that's a January move. But for me, I expect Nelson, Eddie, Ramsdale and Kiwior to find clubs. That means in 8 days, we're going to have to be selling 4 players and potentially bringing in 2 more at least. I don't know that we've got enough time to do all that. I really don't. So Arsenal need to fix up sharp. Get this Marino deal sorted and work out what's happening with the other players that you actually want to be selling and signing. Because for me, if it is Lookman, cool. If that's the player you want, I'm not so sure. Personally, I have question marks over that. But if you believe, personally, that is the signing that will make Arsenal be taken to the next level, then you go for it. But go and get it done now. Go and get it done now. Why are we waiting? And what are we waiting for? That's what I will say. So very interesting. 1 minute ago, Arsenal have agreed a deal to sell Charlie Patino to Deportivo for £1 million fixed fee. Significant sell-on clauses included. Patino is ready for a new chapter in Spain. That has come from Fabrizio Romano. So we've got £1 million for him, but we've got a sell-on clause included. My goodness, we get rubbish money, don't we, for our players? £1 million for the player who was supposed to be the best in the youth academy. And Chelsea is selling one to Burnley for 12 million I've never heard of. What is going on here? Unbelievable. How we are at selling players. We literally are just, anyone wants someone cheap, come and have us. Apart from Eddie, who will give us credit for, because 32 million, that is incredible. But yeah, Charlie Patino, as Aaron says in the chat, the next Jack Wilshere. Well, we'll see. Not the most exciting window for Arsenal at the moment. Arsenal fans are saying that they're chilled and it's all good and we're going to be happy. Well, we've got 8 days because at the moment there's a lot of grumpy fans. No one's interested in what we are doing with Calafiori and Marino. They just want to see an attacker come in. What attacker is it going to be? Is it a winger? Is it a striker? We're going to have to wait and find out. People, do me a favor and hit the like button. Make sure that you do subscribe to the channel. How many likes we got? There's 600 people in here. That must mean there's 200 likes. How many likes are there? How many likes are there? 129. Let's get that up to 300, please, people. There's well over 600 of you in here. So please make sure you hit the like button. At 1 p.m. today, I will be joined by Curtis Shaw from Curtis Shaw TV. Please make sure you're here for that. Set your reminders, hit your notification bells. Me and Curtis will be talking all things Arsenal. Later on tonight, I've got Rival Talk with all clubs, talking about all transfers as we set for another weekend of football. And this evening, I should have Julian on with me as well. So we have got a hectic day. Please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And we will see you at 1 p.m. with me and Curtis talking all things Arsenal. Take it easy, people. We're out of it.
Yes, people, Manscaped is back. But this time, it's not for below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of gradient settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.